It's Lana. So very excited to talk about Tim Baker's new album, The Festival, with the man himself. Just a few weeks, well, we'll say a month or so, before his big show at Massey Hall. Tim Baker joins me now. It's lovely to see you. It's so nice to see a friendly face after so long.
I know.
With the pandemic.
I feel the same.
And congratulations on the new record.
Thank you.
I read that The Festival was intended to be an extension of your previous record. That's kind of what you went into it with.
Yeah.
In the end, is that what the result was?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've really felt that the previous record, Forever Overhead, still resonated with me a lot musically, in terms of the production and everything of it. And I did want to continue in that way because I was having such a great time touring it. And that's what I intended to do. And of course, the old pandemic threw a bit of a spanner in the works. But in terms of, because that record was it was like you could hear a group of people in a room singing together, and sort of all of the energies and the experimentation working together. That was a little more difficult to pull off in this this one. I did most of it in my little studio there in St. John's, but I managed to get people in sort of one at a time. And when I did have a bunch of people in, I sort of put bed sheets between them, and and we got it done. And I hope you can still hear, the community of it and the sort of the party on it. Yeah.
It definitely, one of my notes, not to sound overly poetic, but I was thinking about how the backing vocals on the album are so strong and so various. There's almost like there's an a cappella quartet on, what is it, My Kind. Again, there's gang vocals of Year of the Dog. And then there's this swell of a choir singing on Jungle Suite. Mm-hmm. And I thought about the importance of having group voices on this album in so many different ways. Why was that connection during this time? Why were all those voices such a big part?
There's probably a few answers to that. I mean, I have been in love with human voices forever. But they didn't play a big role in a lot of my work with, like, Hey Rosetta. We only had a couple singers in the band, and eventually I coaxed more and more of them into singing. But that's really developed. And my partner at the time, Nico Paolo, is a beautiful singer, and she had a big part to do, big part to play on the record. And so we sang a lot of parts together, and. I mean, the human voice, I honestly, there's not much more that brings emotion out of people, and so I did a lot on this record of sort of arranging things like I would for strings or horns or anything, and then just deciding, no, let's get people to sing this. And I think the final part of the answer is the fact that, the record being done in isolation, I really missed coming together with people, hearing music, making music, just communing with people, and so I missed it a lot, and I really wanted to hear it, and I wanted to make it. Yeah. Is
that why it's called The Festival?
It sort of is. Yeah. It sort of is. I sort of. It's a little tongue in cheek. I made most of the record, like I said, by myself, but all the while dreaming of this idea of a festival where you just rub shoulders and sweat on strangers and listen to music and discover music, discover people, make friends. It seemed like an impossibility at the time in the long stretch of the isolation there. I sort of wanted to make the record feel a bit like that, or at least made it to come from a stage in a situation like that.
Well, let's get to a track and then chat a bit more.
Okay.
Can you give us a little context about Someday?
Someday is a pretty simple tune. I mean, it's just about who starting again and being better. Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to hear these songs live at Massey Hall in December. And I hear that that one started. Can you tell us about this voice note? We were chatting about it off air. That's kind of the joy of having you in for a while. But for everyone who's listening, they didn't get the story.
Can you never give us, shut up.
Can
That's
you give us?
No.
Look at me. I mean,
no, I was just mentioning. I listened to this the other day, a voice memo of that in my friend Ben's garage, and it was just me and Ben and Phil Melanson playing drums, and just three of us, and doing the a cappella. Someday, all three of us doing it, and just from the very beginning, it was like, yeah, this song, I like this. Let's do this. This was a keeper,
Are there a lot of songs that don't begin as keepers that you toil on and work on over
Oh
and
yeah,
over? Yeah.
Yeah, the majority of them, I feel like.
So what? So what was so easy about Someday?
I don't know. It flowed out without much friction, I guess. I don't know. And I really enjoyed singing it. Sometimes you hit the right melody in the right key, and it feels strong and good. Yeah, hard to explain.
And of course, we're talking, this is I feel it's hard to not talk about new albums right now without bringing up the pandemic. It's kind of inevitable.
Yeah.
But you were in Toronto in a garage. Was it like a proper, because we're playing in the garage and that's where we're supposed to be? Or was it because we were in a garage that had open air and it was kind of outside for safety reasons?
Oh no, it's a nice garage.
Oh, okay.
It's quite a nice. There's skylights.
Okay, so it's a fancy. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go. Because I was like, I don't know. Sometimes it's out of necessity. Sometimes it's just a setup.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about another place that you recorded in, which during peak of isolation, you ended up going to the Fogo Island Inn, which is perhaps one of the most isolated spots in the country.
It's it's an island off the northeast coast of Newfoundland. So, so it's 6 hours from St. John's, and it's very isolated. It's a very magical place. It always was very magical to me, actually, and then. This wonderful, wealthy, beautiful woman named Zita Cobb decided to put. She's from there, and decided to build a massive, architectural wonder, sort of fancy hotel, and a bunch of artist residences, and it's this great non-for-profit, amazing organization, and I just reached out to them. Just for a laugh, really, to see, I would love to get up there and record some of the record up there. The dream was to go up and to bring my producer, Marcus Pequin from Montreal, and my drummer, Liam O'Neill from Montreal, to come down and to do the record sort of in isolation. At that point in time, Newfoundland and Labrador had this thing where if you came, you had to isolate for 2 weeks before you could see anybody. And so the idea was they flew down, and we all sort of isolate, we all quarantined together in this closed hotel, which, honestly, you should go Google it if you don't know about it, because it's an incredible thing to behold. And I can't believe they said yes. I was happy to go out and, just write a song in another garage, another lovely garage. But anyway, we sort of transformed the second floor of this incredible hotel into a recording studio, and went for it for 2 weeks.
Wow. Is there something about the environment when you're there? Because for those who haven't searched it out yet, Fogo Island Inn, you're going to want to check out this beautiful architectural wonder in the middle of nowhere, but it's stunning. Does something like that, when you switch up your environment, we know you can play anywhere, but does the environment become part of your process?
Yeah, I think that it does. I think it's fairly inevitable. Obviously, you're fairly focused in a situation like this. Like we had, this was the second session for this record. So there was 10 songs. There was 9 songs in the first session, 10 songs on this session. Then we cut a bunch, but we had our work cut out for us in terms of 2 weeks there doing it. So I didn't do a lot of, when we actually couldn't leave, so we didn't do any walking around. But it was March anyway, so it was like all frozen.
Oh, I forgot, because again, isolated, as in you cannot leave this indoor space.
That's right.
Even though you're in a very isolated place.
Yeah, because it's a very small community and very far from any healthcare or anything. Like we couldn't go out and have a mug up with the neighbors or anything, and risk infecting somebody. So we could go on little tiny walks around the property, but we weren't supposed to go into the community or anything. So, but we did quite a bit of wistful gazing, I think, out of the window. I mean, it's a staggering view. It's just the North Atlantic, this beautiful milky March light, all over everything, and I think it did. I mean, it's a record that was made from isolation, and it truly made us feel isolated. Yes.
And now, of course, the songs are finally getting their time to be in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And the big show here in Toronto, Massey Hall, December 9th.
That's right.
So is this your first time at Massey Hall performing solo?
It's the first time for myself and my band like this, yes, at Massey Hall. It's very exciting. I've not been in it since it was all redone.
It's beautiful.
I hear it's gorgeous, yeah. Very excited.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And again, you're rehearsing now here in Toronto, I hear.
Yes.
Going there right after this interview.
But I should say, I believe I saw someone from my team posted there's a low ticket warning count on the go for Massey Hall. So
Okay.
if you're considering it, you may want to hop to. And yes, I'm about to leave here and go to the first day of rehearsal for this big tour.
Well, we're excited to see you at Massey Hall coming up on December 9th. Can't wait to see you perform live in that beautiful space. And congratulations again on the new album. And we can't wait to see you in just about a month or so at Massey.
Thank you so much.
Let's get to more Tim Baker now. Here's All Hands on Indie88.